with today being International Women's Day, I wanted to share a gift to support women all around the world who are experiencing deep layers of exhaustion that are just so present, particularly at the moment. I specialize in supporting women with chronic fatigue and exhaustion, but there's just a whole new level of fatigue that's happening, particularly as a result of this pandemic we've been going through. So for many, many women, this fatigue is deeply linked to an imbalance in masculine and feminine energies. And it's part of the fact that the nervous system is often overly activated. And this impacts the body on so many different levels. And underneath all of this is usually a feeling of not being safe and fear, essentially. If you want to learn more about the holding personality that I believe is very present in many women that I see with chronic exhaustion, I'll post a link for you to read an ebook that I've created about that. But today the focus is going to be on helping you to feel into what balanced masculine and feminine energy is, and to help you to just rejuvenate at a very deep level, at a place where the nervous system can settle and where we are able to receive the life force that is always available to us, but for various reasons we may not be receiving. So at a time like this, when there is a lot of fear, what usually tends to happen is that we go into using more of the unconscious masculine energy, which is driving, striving, achieving, trying to hold everything together, trying to be in control all the time, because it helps us to feel safe, it helps us to feel in control. Unfortunately, it's also incredibly depleting. And it's not, particularly for women, it's not our natural way of functioning. If you just think back historically, we're the gatherers, the healers. We're not the hunters, but we're in hunting and running and fighting energy all the time at the moment. What you want is ideally to have both masculine and feminine energy present, but in a very balanced and conscious way. So this unconscious masculine presence energy is that striving energy. The balanced masculine is deeply connected to the feminine, and they need each other. Masculine energy on its own, what it is it's clarity, direction, it's structure. It's also stillness and presence. And when we have that in our life, then the feminine is able to come through and to be expressed and experienced in our lives. And the feminine energy is it's creative life force. It's sexual energy. It's the energy that creates life on the earth. It gives us life. It creates form. And so it's creative. It's deeply embodied. It's deeply related to the body, not versus the head. It is very intuitive. It is deeply in touch with emotions. And when the masculine presence and stillness and container is there, there's enough safety for that feminine to be expressed and to be experienced. And this helps us to get in touch with what is deeply in alignment with ourselves, and to put it in action in a way that is it doesn't have that same frenetic pushing energy. It's a much more deeply rooted energy. So it's about going into action in a far more conscious, connected and rooted way, so that we don't deplete ourselves, and so that we're actually nourished as we're creating and doing. And it obviously also involves feeling safe enough to have a rested body and immune system, and rested nervous system. A big part of that would be then the immune system also settles, because so many aspects of, as I said, so many aspects of the body are impacted by your nervous system, including the gut, the immune system, your pancreas, your liver, your endocrine system in general. Okay, so let me just give you a felt sense of what these feel like. So I'd like you to just think about a moment where you have felt a lot of overwhelm recently. Even if you perhaps think about the situation in Ukraine, I know that this has been deeply triggering for many people on many levels. Thinking about maybe work you need to do, your to-do list. Just closing your eyes, taking a few breaths and dropping into your body, and noticing how that energy feels in your body, and noticing where you feel it. And you might want to give it descriptive words. So for instance, does it feel heavy or light, calm or frenetic? Does it feel solid or kind of more diffuse? Does it have a color? And notice how you are resting in your body, or are you resting? Because what you're most likely going to notice is that this energy is one that is of contraction, and there's a pulling up in your body and a pushing forward. Okay, so this is, you're in fight flight mode. You're ready to take on this perceived threat, whatever it may be, whether it's your to-do list, whether it's the war in Ukraine, whether it's COVID. Your body is prepared to fight. It's in fighting mode, or it's going to also, part of the contraction can be a freeze. You can also just go into a completely frozen state, which is often where the overwhelm comes in. So you can be agitated, activated, frozen, and all of these can lead to overwhelm and impact your physiological functioning and add layers and layers of fatigue. Okay, so let me introduce you now to the more connected, conscious, masculine energy. So I'd like you once again to just close your eyes and to imagine that you can breathe through the top of your head. So imagine that your head softens and opens with each breath that you take. And as your head begins to soften and open, visualize golden sunlight above. And this is let's call it the sky energy, the masculine energy. But the quality of this energy is it's providing presence in your life. It is seeing you completely and fully as you are. So it's deeply acknowledging without judgment. It's deeply present without abandoning. And it shines all the way down you, into you, and you can even imagine it begins to wrap itself around you. This golden light, creating a space for you to rest into, to be held in, a place to be seen. And there's a stillness and quiet in this. Just by dropping into your body and bringing presence to your body, you've already brought this masculine quality, this conscious masculine quality of stillness and quiet into your body. And notice if perhaps your body feels like it can begin to drop down a little bit, and maybe you might even be able to rest back into your body, as if you're resting into the holding of this masculine presence, this conscious masculine energy. So to get an understanding of this, it would be like the banks of a river. No matter how that water rages, those banks hold the river. And if you want to, you could imagine a canyon with rocks on this either side, and that water just rushing through. But those rocks, that's conscious masculine energy. that stability, solidity, that container, that protection, but also the presence of them. It's holding, you're held. Okay, you're seen and you're held in this kind of energy. So it's about receiving that, but it's also about giving yourself that in the process as you allow yourself to drop into your body and to be present with what you're feeling. Dropping down, resting back, and beginning to slowly empty your head. Just breathing into your head and emptying your head of any thoughts, expectations, belief systems. Just almost creating a spaciousness or a void behind your eyes. Emptying your head. You can imagine you're just letting go of all of this and you're kind of handing it over to be held by something greater than you, whatever your spiritual belief is. So for me, the masculine and feminine is deeply part of any religion or spiritual belief that you have. It's an energy intrinsic to all of them. So handing over what is in the head, just letting it go, and dropping down into your chest and feeling any emotions there, any tightness, any hard edges, any tenderness, sadness, and just allowing yourself to breathe in the spaciousness into the heart center and letting that spaciousness fill that space, so that again you're leaning back into the presence of being held and supported by divine or by conscious masculine energy, and emptying around your hearts, around everything that's there, and just kind of handing that over as well, just letting that go to something greater, just letting yourself be held. You don't have to hold it all. So as women, we hold so much. We hold for others besides ourselves. We hold everything together for ourselves, but then we hold for our children and for our parents and our friends and our partners. And just for this moment, handing it over, trusting that there is something that is holding all of that, and allowing yourself, if you don't feel you can hand it over, just let yourself be held while you hold. Okay, so that's not this self-reliance, which is just so depleting. Breathing into your head and into your heart. And then this is where we come really into the experience of the feminine energy. So dropping down into your belly, into your pelvic bowl. This is where we create form. We receive life force from the earth up through the root chakra. And this life force is, as I said, it's the same as sexual energy. It's the same as creative energy. It's all the same thing. And it creates and manifests form in our lives. And when we block ourselves off from receiving life because we're afraid of what's happening in life, we're afraid we can't trust ourselves to be held by life, we block ourselves off from life force. We use all our own internally generated drive, and we don't receive from above, from below, to feed ourselves, to nourish ourselves, and to have vitality. So just as you just drop now, so empty, your breath is also the feminine. As you breathe the breath into your head, into your heart, and then down into your belly, you're bringing that softness, compassion, and that kind of embracing of all that is. So just in the same way as the masculine sees without judgment, the feminine just holds it all with tenderness and compassion. And dropping down into the belly, where you can just feel the energy of the feminine is like vast void or a womb like space. It's often that we can talk about as the unknown, whereas the masculine is more clarity. The feminine can often feel a bit unknown, which is why we tend to try and avoid it. And it's also why patriarchal society does not like this more emotionally, intuitively based knowing, which is a lot more diffuse and not so structured as, and doesn't have as much clarity as the masculine. But what we do is we bring them together to have your full knowing. But at this point, just dropping down into the belly, and imagine you're dropping right down into the earth, into this void, but it's a very safe space. So it would be like resting into a warm bath. It would be like being in the womb of the mother. So you are held, and at the same time you're fed and nourished. So just like the roots of the tree receive nourishment from the earth, imagine that you are rooted deep, deep down into the earth. You dropped right down. So in your body, it's a sensation of being back and down, dropped back and down. And your nervous system begins to calm, to settle. You begin to allow your cells to be nourished by the breath. So when we're constantly in activated states, we're always going to stay in that depleted state. There's no rested state to then rejuvenate. So supporting this, yourself and your body to be able to rest and to rejuvenate, dropping back, dropping down, imagining you're dropping right into the earth. You're being cradled and held and nourished. You deeply surrender everything and just trust that it is all being held for you. So even though you, maybe for this moment, are just allowing yourself to put it down, it's not like it's not going to be met or it's not going to somehow be okay. It's a deep trust in something holding you. And so you've got that golden light of the masculine around you, surrounding you, coming into you. And then you've got this foundation of the feminine that's grounding you. It's not going anywhere. And like that tree, you can be deeply rooted, and the wind can blow, but you're not going to fall over. You're fed, you're rooted. So you're being held and supported all the time. And just giving yourself permission to feel that in your body as you rest down. Feeling the pelvis softening and opening, resting down into the earth, rooting down into the earth. Feeling the container and presence of the conscious masculine, and resting down and surrendering into the earth and just receiving that life force, that nourishment, that compassion, and that embrace of all that you are and all that you're experiencing. And this may take some time to get used to. Many of us have spent most of our lives in an activated state without even realizing that it's not necessarily healthy, and it just feels normal. So this is really about rewiring your nervous system, rewiring your brain, training your body to more easily go into a rested, nourished state of being open and receiving. And this is where true feminine power lies, for men and for women. When men or women, or however you identify, can tune into this powerful life force, and this creative energy in balance with the masculine, it's absolutely incredible what can be achieved, and what you can do without burning out. So I just wanted to give you a little taste of that today. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to email me, message me, or set up a discovery call if you'd like to find out more about how I coach women to experience this through various embodied practices like this. And I also provide tools to help them to rewire the whole nervous system and tune into a very, very different way of being and doing in the world, which feels far more empowered and easy, where there's more vitality and joy and ease. And ease is the big one, spaciousness and ease. So I'm wishing all a wonderful Women's Day, and don't forget your true power, your true feminine power, and how incredibly nourishing and nurturing and strong that is, and how beautiful you all are, how powerful you all are. Take care, everyone.